This video is for a student, and it was just an explanation for how they're going to make a garment. So if you have stumbled across this on YouTube and you want to have a watch along, then feel free, but it might not make that much sense. So Maureen, this is for you. So I'm going to start with just chaining. So I'm chaining an even number . I've done 14. What we're trying to do is just make sure we're okay with how we begin and end this row for your jumper, Maureen. So I'm using a much bigger hook than I would do normally so that you can see it clearly. And so I have an even number, I think 14 I've just said, and I'm going to put a single crochet in the first chain, which is so it's the second chain from the hook. So, and then chaining one, missing one, and single crochet into the next. And I'm going to repeat this all the way down the length of the chain. So this is what you're going to be doing. So chain one, miss one, single crochet. Chain one, miss one, single crochet. And so far, and so on. Now, I'll come to the end. Now, so this pattern will have two rows, and you'll just keep repeating the same rows. What's important to remember is you will always start and always end with a single crochet, and then you will always put a single crochet in a chain one space below. So those are your two rules. And with those rules, then you probably shouldn't need to be looking and reading the pattern. So if we have a look now along this length, this is our first stitch as we turn back, which is a single crochet. But it's all, because it's first stitch, we're going to put another single crochet into it. The next one then is a chain, so that's going to have a single crochet in it. Then we're going to chain over the next single crochet and put a stitch in the next space, and we're going to do that all the way along. So the first stitch is always a single crochet, and then we single crochet into chains and chain stitch over single crochets below. So let's just do our first single crochet. Okay, so hopefully you can see the difference now between the gaps. So you've got quite a big gap where the chain space has been, and where you've got a stitch, you've got this sort of almost diagonal or horizontal line that's going across. So hopefully that will help you. So because we've got a chain stitch there, we're going to put a single crochet, and then I'm going to chain, because I'm going to chain over the top of that single crochet, and then I'm going to single crochet into the next. Chain one, miss the next stitch, and I'm going into the next space. Chain one, miss the next stitch, and I'm going into that big space. So keep your stitches nice and loose. Well, you're making a jumper, so you don't need it to be too tight, because it's going to be worn over something. So you don't have to worry about it actually being holy. So single crochet. Now I'm coming to the end. I'm going to chain one over the top of that single crochet. I am making a single crochet in the next space, and then I'm at the end. So I'm at the end, so it must be another single crochet. Okay, so chain one, and then this is the next part of the 2-row pattern. So the first stitch has to be a single crochet. Now, next, I am going to chain over a stitch, and I'm going to stitch into a chain. So hopefully you can see that this, although it's got a big gap, it has this little horizontal section there. So therefore that is our single crochet. And I think this is what's been confusing you when you've come along, because it still looks like it's got a big gap. And in fact, that gap probably looks bigger than that gap in this instance. but hopefully you can see your V's, so you know that's a single crochet. So we're going to chain over the top of that, and we're going to go into this space there and make our stitch. So chain, miss this stitch, and then go into this space. Chain, miss this stitch, go into this space. Chain, miss this stitch, go into this space. Chain, miss this stitch, and go into this space. So we have now single crochet there, so chain over it. Then this is our last stitch, so we're going to stitch into it. So every other row it's single crochet, chain, single crochet, and then the next row is 2 single crochets before you start to chain. I don't know if that'll make it easier for you. Chain 1, turn round, first stitch has to be single crochet. Next stitch is a space, so hopefully you can see that as a space. So single crochet, chain, go past that single crochet into the next space, chain, past that single crochet into the next space, chain, past it into the next space, chain, miss a single crochet into your next space, chain, miss single crochet in the space. I'm at the last stitch again, and I'm single crocheting into that last stitch. If you are struggling with your last stitch, make sure you put a stitch marker in. We'll do one more. So chain, turn round, first stitch has to be single crochet. The next stitch is a single crochet. So because it is a single crochet, I'm going to chain, and I'm going to miss this stitch, and then I'm going to go into the chain space, chain, miss this stitch into the chain space, chain, miss this stitch into the chain space, chain, miss this stitch into chain space, miss the stitch into the chain space, chain, that's the stitch, and then that's my last stitch. And there we have the pattern. So let me just bring you a bit closer. Now hopefully you can see that what happens is we do a brick effect. So effectively you've gone like this. And you can also see we start to get a diagonal line of these V stitches that's going up. So hopefully that's useful, Maureen. And if anybody else has watched this video, please like it, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment.